Good everyone, welcome to today's review, and today we have the Gala's F3F. Now, if you're a retro player like me, obviously I did Thatcher's F2A1, which I earned way back when I first started playing, and obviously that plane's been changed now, and I don't particularly like it anymore. It's all right, but I'd rather have it have the same armament as this, which is what it used to have. Single 50 and a single 30, but we're not here to discuss Thatcher's Buffalo, not a chance. So Gala's F3F was based off, I think um, it was either Josh Gala or I can't remember his name, but I know it's someone named Gala with a second name, obviously. And he had to ditch this aircraft. It was eventually recovered and is now on display. Obviously, Gaijin not wanting to give people an overpowered premium at the get-go, Chaika, Zukovsky's, they decided to give people, or new players, when they win their first match for the US, Gala's F3F, which I think is a perfectly good reason. But of course, Russia still has the Zukovsky's Chaika, which I think should be like an ace pilot of an I-15WR or one of these I-15s, maybe even the Biz, just not the Chaika. But hey, gotta help the retards in Russia, haven't we? So obviously it's based off well, it's a regular F3F2. It's a pretty good plane. I nicknamed this thing the American Chaika because it certainly bloody flies like one. You're gonna see in this battle. Um, well, we've got decent armament on board. As I mentioned, we have the same guns as the P-36A Hawk. However, obviously, we are not a monoplane. We are a biplane. Well, this is a biplane. You're powered by a Wright Cyclone R1820 with about 900 horsepower on WEP. It's not bad. It certainly propels this thing nicely. I like the biplane itself. I've always liked the F3F. The 50 is in the right-hand side of the engine cowling. The 30 is on the left. So if you're one of those kind of people who splits your guns, make sure to fire with a slight adjustment to the left. So that way the 50 can get on target a lot easier. You get 200 rounds, obviously 750 rounds a minute. You've probably got about 10 to 15 seconds of firing time with the 50 cal, which is good enough for most threats. However, as you're going to see, there's a 112 that soaks up an unusually large amount of hits, which was rather weird. But obviously the 30 cal, 1000 rounds a minute, you get about 20 seconds firing, or 30 seconds firing time with this 30 cal. It's an okay gun, but I certainly wouldn't rely on a 30 cal. That's for certain. A 15 to 30 is a perfectly valid sort of armament. Obviously, the Ki-27 Nate could also be armed similar. Obviously, not with a Browning, but with its one 7.7 Type 89 and one HO 103. I'd love to see that added personally, but don't think it will. External armament, you can also carry two 100-pound bombs, which they're useful. You'll see them in this game. I do ditch them towards the end because we was going to engage the Hiker 112, but I didn't get to kill him. A MiG-3 took him in a head-on, which, to be fair, it's a MiG-3, so it's going to win that. So, obviously, flight performance, it's not too bad. The engine overheat is literally not noticeable. You'll have more problems with the oil than the engine. Obviously, you've got retractable landing gear like a Chaika, which is similarly, well, it's why I call it the American Chaika, and it turns like a Chaika. It will run rings around most modern, or in fact nearly all monoplanes, and most biplanes as well. And with a 15 to 30, you're going to tear them apart. So let's jump right into the battle, and we can obviously go over why this battle was stressful for me. I do have a bit of bonus footage in the F3F, which I can save. Obviously, don't have to use it. I mean, probably not going to use it, but if you want to see that, do let me know. This was a 20-minute battle. It didn't bloody feel like it. It felt like a 10-minute slaughter, but hey-ho. So this battle is obviously going to start off with me just climbing as normal. I always do it in the F3F. It's just common sense. And I thought this battle was going to be literally nothing special. Obviously, take off, wheels up. We know the drill by now. And well, obviously I'm carrying the bombs. I only drop the bombs if I really have to. There is a bit of Z zone in this battle, so I'm just gonna skip to the combat, so to speak. Unfortunately, I still don't make any Star Wars references in here, but don't worry, I'll make some as I do my commentary, obviously. Now, that Kai-44 Otsu, which you just saw a brief second over here, engaging that Hampton, you will see him later. So now we're back to 1 times speed, and obviously I have the high ground, so I was checking stats of the enemy team as I usually do, and R. Orlick, who appeared to be stat padding, I decided he was the biggest threat. There's an RA-2002 early down there, and there's also a Heinkel 112B who's going to take a lot of hits to bring down. I deal with Orlick. I hate stat padders. First kill. This battle was close to being an ace, but I have had aces in this aircraft, but I decided this was the better footage to show what this aircraft could do. Next up was the RA-2002 early. I set him on fire, and down he goes. Second kill. And here's where a Heinkel 112 takes an unusually large amount of hits. I need to clip a tree then. You've got to watch the lockup on this thing. It is quite horrendous at high speed. You can see here, this 112 is just soaking up hits. I'm putting 50 and 30 all into his airframe, and it's just not doing anything until I get point blank range and kill his pilot. Third kill. Well, that got intense. But it's not over yet. This Doe 17Z comes for a crack at me. I don't know why he'd come for the biplane instead of the monoplane, but being a German pilot and that thing becoming the new hatchling plane, he goes for the head-on naturally. Yeah, just don't let an F3F get on your tail. It will tear you apart with a 50 kill. 4th kill, and that is my final air kill of the game. But let me tell you, this was a well-deserved victory for my team. Unfortunately, most of my team have either sprayed their ammunition, the bombers have run out of bombs, and at this point I go over to engage some ground targets. I spot that 112 up there. He's level 26, I think he was at the time of the spell, something like that. Obviously he has a high ground, and I decided to stay on target. Stay on target. There's another Star Wars reference for you. And I decide, well, I've got a bit of ammo left in the 50, I've got some in the, well, I've got plenty in the 30, so let's go for some ground targets. I decide to use the 30 first. Just because, well, it can kill ground targets, it just takes more ammunition. At this point though, I'm obviously lined up for a dive bomb. This thing's very easy to dive bomb with. The F3F's design principle I didn't really go over, so I'll quickly go over its history and things like that now. 2 bombs, 2 kills. I'll take that. The F3F was obviously the last biplane designed fighter by the Americans for their carriers. After this, the F4, or the Thatcher, or the Buffalo, I nearly said Thatchers then, because I've recently been flying the Thatchers to finish it out off. And here comes a moment where I go, oh crap. But before that gets to that, I'll briefly go over the history. This is the last biplane fire, and obviously you can take a look at this and look at the Wildcat, and you'll notice straight away that there is family looks, so to speak. So a J1N1 and a Kai-44 Otsu, the one I told you about earlier, are coming for a crack at me. However, there isn't just that. There's also a 112 that's going to be coming over to join the party. These 2 guys are doing it perfect though. They're doing the boom and zoom tactics, and I'm using my maneuverability to stay out their gunfire. It's going to be a while though before I get some sufficient backup. Obviously the I-16's there, you just saw him there firing at the J1N1, but he is shortly going to depart the battle due to engine damage. And well, he's just been critted by the J1N1's tail gunner. The J1N1's going to crash, but now it's a 2-on-1 fight, and I only have a farty bit of 50 cal left. I think I'm actually out of 50 cal, and I've got quite a bit of 30 cal left, but a 30 cal is not sufficient to deal with most of these threats. Obviously, I'm aggressively maneuvering to try and keep them off me. Obviously, it's a 2-on-1 fight. I've got to try and keep them both in my sight, control them as best I can. The 112's coming back. You can imagine the amount of stress I was under here as I was trying to stay alive. What I was trying to do, I was trying to force them to lose their energy and bait them into a turn fight, which is where I can potentially turn this around. Score some hits on the Kai 44. And you can imagine in the chat, I'm screaming for backup. I'm there like, I need backup now. I can't take on 2 planes solo. Especially with only a 40 bit of 30 cal left. But you can imagine I'm aggressively rolling, I'm turning, I'm diving, I'm doing everything I can to shake these two off. In real life I'd have probably been shot down, but hey ho, this is War Thunder. And thank you to Jukas0213, you are a legend, mate. I would not have survived. The MiG-3 is screaming in to come and help me. He knows the amount of pressure I'm under here. He takes the head on with the Kai 44. He gets crit and he gets damage in his engine block, but he takes out the Kai 44. The 112 is coming in now, and here comes a Kai 32 to have a crack at me. People will probably judge me for saying Kai. I say it's Kai just because it's easier, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm looking now, and this is where I noticed the Kai 32. The Kai 32. He fucks it up though. He hits a tree. Down he goes. I count that as a maneuver kill, so technically you count it as an ace. And at this point, I'm down to around about 80 rounds of 50 or 30 cal. The 50 cal's out. I took a bit of damage from the Kai 32, but it's not noticeable. And well, it got to a 3 versus 1, so I just put in the chat just to piss them off that bit more. 3 versus 1 in that case, and you lot still screwed it up. Even though I was in a inferior aircraft, I was still able to turn the tide of the battle. Jukas took a lot of damage from it though, but I wouldn't have survived without him. But I've never had to pull so many aggressive maneuvers in this thing. But for some reason Cuba just keeps coming back. I had no idea why. Maybe he saw my comment in the chat and took it as a challenge, I don't know, but it was just, it really was just that one of those games where you just had to do everything to survive, and I somehow managed to do it. Obviously it's a 112, it will easily catch up to an F3F biplane. Naturally though, he wants a head-on because everyone and their mothers in German aircraft, no matter the armament, seem to want to do head-ons. I honestly don't know why people do it. And yeah, it's just one of those things really. I see far too many people doing head-ons in like 112s, Ju-88As, and even BF-109Bs, like, they're not that well armed. Don't do it. I scored a couple of hits there just to try to get this guy to piss off, because at this point I'm down to around about, what, 20 rounds? 30 rounds? 30 cal? I can't take this guy on any longer. And he just keeps coming back. I had no idea why. I mean, yeah, he still had ammo, but I presume not a lot. And there we go, 35 rounds I put in the chat. I was somewhere right. And he just kept coming. Obviously, the only reason why my points are going up is because he's right on my arse. I put in the chat, I can hold him off, but not for long. I need you to hear MiG-3, but the 112 now chooses to break off, and I was so happy to see that. I was honestly in the happiest of moods when I saw him break. Now it's time to return to base, and obviously landing the F3F is a piss take. If you've ever landed a biplane, you've landed this. The only difference is you do have to press G, so that's it. Or whatever you set to your landing gear to. I set it to G because then it's easy to remember. And there we go. In ground forces, however, G is for a secondary gun, so such as on a B1 Biz. I can still fire both with the click of the mouse if I've got the turret facing forward and the gun facing forward. But that's pretty much it. I can maybe go over my keyboard binds at some point. That's certainly an option. Obviously, spacebars to drop bombs, things like that. I just keep it simple. If it's simple for me to remember, then I'll use it, because I have a problem with like remembering things half the time. My memory is pretty terrible at times. So at this point, obviously I've ditched the bombs because I've spotted the 112. There he is. And he's coming back from round 2. This time he's going for the MiG-3. Well, he's going to take a head-on with a MiG-3. I don't understand why this guy loves head-ons. I mean, mate, just get the DOE 17 Z7, then you'll be starting a new hatching plane. That's what I've had to rename the BF-110C to not be the hatchling plane anymore, because that is actually nicknamed by the digital time traveler for the BF-110, but obviously now it's the DOE 17Z, because, well, the Z7, the Nightfire one. Obviously he's coming for a head-on. I fire a burst, just get out of the way. Got to use my turn rate. He pulls vertical for some bloody reason. I have no idea why. I roll the plane aggressively to get on his tail. He takes a head-on with a MiG-3 and gets shredded for his actions. The MiG-3 just dodges out of the way. And that, after a couple of ground targets, is the end of the battle. I said to Dukas, nice work, mate. We earned this one. And I believe I get one more ground target before the game ends, so I've got my finger on the pause ready to go. Nope, that's it. Unfortunately, that howitzer had died right as the game ended, so it didn't count. But yeah, Gala's F3F. If you need a rank 1 premium, that's cheap, because I think this thing's 250 Golden Eagles, or if you got it free, you got yourself a really good bargain. I mean, it's the perfect sort of biplane for lower tier American pilots to learn in. Obviously, it's not like it's going to be teaching people how to boom and zoom. You can boom and zoom in this aircraft, but it's not as effective. Excuse me. Burp and a cough at the same time. Not very comfortable for your throat. Anyway, as I was saying, but yeah, this aircraft's not all about turn fighting. You could maybe try boom and zoom with it. I didn't need to. I only used it once in that way against an I-15, and even then, it ended up being a turn fight after I crit his left wing. So overall, should you get this plane? Yes. If you have these spare Golden Eagles, get it. But if you're not looking for biplanes and you want to get something that will teach you how to fly American aircraft, I'd probably say put a talisman on one of the P-36 Hawks, probably the C1, like when I did the Talisman series flight on that. Overall, it's a very fun plane. Obviously, I achieved a kill-death ratio of about 10-1, and well, it's not too bad. I mean, whatever, it was not 10-1, it was 8.75 to 1. Because I'm pretty certain I got aimbotted in a tank battle, but I can't be asked to do anything about it. There's just been far too much of that lately. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's review on Gala's F3F. It is a much better premium than the Thatcher's Buffalo, in my opinion. Obviously, everyone's entitled to their own. I don't mind opinions. You can state your own opinions in the comments below if you wish. But overall, if you was to get a talisman on a vehicle, P-36 Hawk or an SBD will do you just fine. Maybe even the SB-23 if you want to go that down the bomber tree and things like that. Anyway, I'll let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's video on the Gala's F3F. I certainly enjoyed flying this thing. And this is a very stressful match, as you can imagine. I needed a lot of beer after this one. Catch you all on the next one.